So I think Shalini set a good backdrop to the discussion that we'll have today. I think she gave a good overview of what's happening in the GCC industry. And now here we have all the specialists who can talk about specific use cases. One of the advice I gave them, and the same advice to all of you, forget the questions I'm asking, focus on the answers they're giving. The insights are all there, right? So let me begin with Rajesh. Rajesh, you have been in this industry for a long time. I think the first question for you is, what are the various opportunities from your standpoint that you see in your company and maybe slightly more broadly in your industry? So let's start with the opportunities question with you.
Fantastic. Good morning, everyone. My voice may sound a little heavier because of cold that I was running, of course, but it's great to be here. And thank you, Sameer, 3AI, for giving me this platform. I could be having a little butterfly in my stomach because my mentor and my guide is the moderator of the session. Thank you so much, Pankaj. Now, but obviously this is a great morning. Great messages from Sameer and great messages from Shalini, of course. Very relevant. And when they were saying a few things, Pankaj, so obviously I was recalling a few talking points in my mind. I was like, I have the same point, they are talking the same point. So I think it makes my message clear. So, we call about this AI tsunami. We talk about this AI disruption. So what it means is, of course, everyone is talking about it. Everyone is trying to do something about it. But I think in the way Sameer put it very nicely, it's just a drop in the ocean. So when we say drop in the ocean, we don't know what we don't know right now. Having said that, while the challenges are plenty, there is a plenty of opportunity. And where I see this, the CXO suite, the GCC site leaders and the functional leaders are trying to tide that tsunami, is 2 or 3 major critical points I will talk about. One is, of course, it is leading to the AI literacy in the CXO and the boardrooms also. Now, I was there in a master class for the corporate director program also. One common theme which obviously has been introduced is how the AI, the digital literacy and everything is now a mandate in every the board. It is not a choice anymore, it is a mandatory part because this is how the businesses are moving forward. And I also were talking to a few leaders in the past, of course, Pankaj, this is a little funny fact. If you ask, and all of you have your phones, if you simply ask Perplexity and ChatGPT, how many senior leaders are actually taking a formal prompt engineering course, you will see some startling, obviously facts, which means the AI literacy is not just an HR mandate. It is all about, obviously, is for you to remain relevant, you need to know what is happening on that front. Third thing is, which is most important, obviously, is the infusion of AI and the talent together. It is not like humans and AI replacing each other. It is how about they coexist each other in the form of, making things more productive, making things more efficient. And, the introduction of Copilot in finance, HR world, and some of the other regulatory work has literally shown how things can be done faster without replacing humans as well. Now, obviously, these tsunamis and all that, there is no playbook per se right now, but I would say the leaders who will continue to tide over these tsunamis and disruptions are the ones who are not fighting these waves. They're actually learning to balance these waves. They know when to duck. They know which, the right to go above it, and obviously continue to learn. And if you don't know it, raise your hand and say, I need help. I think that is where this whole ecosystem becomes much more stronger, coming together, learning from each other and making sure that we obviously tide over what we don't know, we at least learn from each other from a best practice point of view.
Thanks, Rajesh. So I'm going to change all the question that I told you earlier. So it's changed just now. I thought I'll change it. So the same question to all of you. So Selva, why don't you go next?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sameer and 3AI, for giving this opportunity. So what I'd like to touch upon is, so in order to really look at AI first mentality, first we need to augment the board, right? So today the traditional boards have several decades of experience or whatnot, but in today's world where we have to do AI first mentality, at least what we have done in our company, augment the board with an AI entrepreneur so that we ask the right questions. Now then when we come up to the CXO level, it's all about leadership agility because as Sameer and Shalini pointed out, we are living in a VUCA world. Highly volatile, uncertain, chaotic, and ambiguous. Things change by the minute, right? So from a CXO perspective, how do we maintain this focus? How do we separate the noise from the signal? So that's going to be very important. And particularly from a GCC perspective, it's no more just a volume game, because we don't need so many data scientists or so many data engineers. It's about high impact game. So even the very term GCC, as Shalini said, it's been there for decades. I would even, won't hesitate to call it as, we need to represent to global outcome centers. And it's not about headquarters sending something. It's about we earning, showing the value and pull, so that we come out with the AI-infused solutions. I mean, cost efficiency, agentic AI, bridging the cross-functional silos, etc. is okay. But in terms of value realization, I mean, my conversation with global CFO for any funding is just 90 seconds. Either I go in, what's the top line impact? I'm talking about where we are selling or monetizing AI solutions externally, right? If it's no, the call is over. So then I go second sitting, third sitting, show me a top line impact or a bottom line impact, or if there's a cash flow. So aligning to the KPIs, right? The last thing is, yes, if all these three are not there, but still if they can, if the solution can bridge and break the silos within the organization across functions, etc., then okay, go ahead and do it. So these are the things which I think as CXOs, as senior leaders, we need to think, and we need to shift from a doing economy, which we have been doing for last couple of decades, to a thinking economy. So that thought leadership is going to establish ourselves and pull and get the things going instead of just being only the doers.
Pancham.
Good morning, and thank you for having me over here. It's an honor to share the panel with you all. In terms of the AI tsunami, I think, and the strategic placement of AI, I think what needs to happen is AI needs to be part of design thinking. Organizations need to pivot to AI as a native in terms of designing and structuring solutions which are innovative and scalable. This is going to provide speed, scalability, and continuous improvement as also an evolution, because what we do right now is based on what a human thinks. But once the machine starts thinking and evolving, I think the pace of change and the scalability is going to be much faster. Also, AI should not only be seen as another technology which has come in. I think it's going to fundamentally change the way we govern, we make decisions, and also impact our risk management. The industry I come from in banking, these are the very key principles, and I'm sure it's agnostic to every industry, and every industry works that way. And the feedback we hear from our industry and from clients is that they want to adopt AI, but are not sure how to. They have use cases, but they don't know how to scale, and they are ready for it, but they have tech debt, and data is not ready for it. So I think from all these parameters, bringing AI as a native tool and imbibing this into your design thinking will be the next step. And I think a few of us touched upon it, and Rajesh also touched upon it, that this AI is not replacing the human judgment, but it's augmenting human judgment. So I think both have to converge together and live together. So that's my view in terms of AI tsunami and how to tackle it. Thank you.
Thanks, Priya.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's my pleasure to be sitting here with all of these senior industry leaders. And who else to be the moderator for the session than the one and only Mr. Pankaj Rai. It's an honor, sir. Talking about this strategy and talking about what the tsunami is coming in, I think the tsunami is not really hitting the leaders at this point of time. I really think they're learning to stay underwater. They're learning to swim underwater at this point of time. According to me, the GCC leaders are now trying to move away from what is called as strategy of control to a strategy of choreography. The AI at this point of time, the landscape really does not respect our original structures, the way we used to build systems. So the leadership is now trying to learn, orchestrating the adaptability of all of the organizations, letting them experiment and grow. This is my second month into Broadridge right now. I recently moved here, and I'm extremely impressed with the way it positions itself as an AI leader for financial solutions. And I should talk about some of the strategies that they are putting up as GCC leaders because of the 4 Ps that they call. And one of the major things that we also understand in the industry. The first one being the platform that we call. We are not here in most of the places where we invest money, we are not here to invest into building AI models. I believe we are trying to invest into leveraging the AI models and probably building platforms around it. The second part of it is what we call as the policies. As organization, I think we are already set to the place on the ground because we deal with financial products. We have the aspect of security, risk controls, governance very strong. So we didn't really have to invest in that. The third aspect of it is called as the product. The product, I'm sure everybody here understands what I'm talking about when I say we really need to look at the business value use cases when we talk about that. And bringing in the aspect of commercialization as a strategy lever is going to be very important in that. And the last part of the P is the people. We're all very aware of that. I think the talent war is real, guys. So we are trying to invest not in the talent headcount, but majorly in the talent density and how we are able to establish it. I really think, Pankaj, that the GCC leaders are now trying to move away from being center of excellence to actually being center of experimentation. And the future really belongs to those GCCs that understand the aspect of industrializing curiosity. A favorite 2 words, industrial and curiosity for me, and I think that's something that we cannot automate.
So basically, at that big picture level, what I'm hearing for all of you is very resonating with what Shalini said and what Samir said, that any talk of AI is not just about the technology, it's about the why, the how, the what. It's about your strategy, people, value realization, and technology, all in one. So that's what's so great. So my second question, same for all of you again. Tell us some, and we'll start with Shiva, something that you face some problem, some challenges, how you are overcoming them, and what some of the others can learn from your experience. So challenges and overcoming them, already done or working on, all of you, because that's very important. How can everyone learn from your challenges and strategies?
So number one, I'll take an example of where we have a platform, we have to monetize, where we generate in-customer value, etc. So we were great. We are in this journey for almost 3 years now. We said, okay, Gen AI, let's do. But one of the challenges we faced was at what cost? How is it going to impact my books, right? So we are moving away from one times to annual recurring revenue. So how are we going to get? So we are already providing a solution, and we are saying that on top of it, we will provide AI, but from an end customer perspective, we are into the smart buildings and autonomous business. So how will that decision maker really understand that value? Now we talked about a lot of buzz about Gen AI, where prompt engineering is key, but the end persona says he or she doesn't want to do any prompting at all. So we have to shift gears and then say, okay, then this would be a perfect case from smart to autonomous, where you don't need prompt at all. So we took that challenge as an opportunity, and then we piloted. Of course, it's a paid pilot, but is it globally, enterprise-wide commercialization yet? Not yet, but we have a roadmap defined. So that's number one. The second thing which I want to take is, from a go-to-market business model perspective, is it sustainable business model? Is it one-time heroics, or at least we have a 2 to 3 year recurring? So we're still finding out answers towards it, but at least we want to stay in the race. And the second dimension to the same point is the environmental sustainability. I think today any of the AI models or even the search queries and LLMs are energy guzzlers in terms of electrical energy or natural resources. So how do we develop solutions that is environment friendly? So these are 2 challenges we are still figuring out in the research stage, and we will get to know as we move forward.
Yeah, I'll give one example, and I think I'll throw 3 keywords here which everyone will relate to. My challenge that obviously I'm going to be talking about is ownership, adoption, and regulatory and governance compliance. So a use case, some POC being developed from India on a very strong business premise that this is going to be changing the way the top line, the bottom line, and everything is done. POC is supremely successful, from done completely in GCC, And when it is time for adoption, come what? Success has many fathers. Somebody just raises the hand in the global and say, no, this is now my product. When it was all about data engineering, data cleaning, bringing that whole thing to life from an activation point of view, nobody was coming forward. But all of a sudden, we got the ownership issue because somebody else wanted to eat the cake. So that is number one problem, obviously, that who is the owner? When somebody gets done in GCC, then is that whole line's clarity? This becomes, Pankaj, even more critical when you have a geographically diverse organization with, almost operating out of many organizations. Second thing is adoption. Now, obviously, every global organization has their own regional footprints also. So when you create an enterprise solution, the regional adoption, the global adoption, again, it ties back to ownership, but then again, who is actually calling the shot of how the adoption is going to happen? Because all these things are, of course, just like the way we say there are 40, 50 use cases in every organization, but a lot of those don't see the light of the day because obviously the adoption is not there. Again, again, in my practical example, the ownership was an issue. Adoption became an issue because, again, tangled into the web of that. Third thing, a very good, strong ChatGPT kind of a solution created internally. But when it all came down to actual implementation, the legal, regulatory, governance, compliance comes into picture and say, oh no, you can't use this keyword. You can't use this verbose. You have to change this. The problem here is, again, it all comes back to how do we bring the whole AI to life, keeping all the stakeholders in the value chain from day one, having everyone's inputs, and not just build something in silo, because in the end, that silo solution is not going to be adoptable. There are going to be more than one father of success or owners. And third thing is regulatory might just bring the whole thing down. And I think, unfortunately, that is happening in all possible organizations that we think about, and Shalini and Samir spoke about this. The faster that we tackle this beast, or the elephant in the room, the AI adoption, solutioning, and everything is going to be successful. Otherwise, I think this will continue to be the buzzword and the air and the noise, of course. So that's a practical challenge of three. I'll leave it with here: ownership, adoption, and regulatory and framework.
The use cases and the challenges are kind of similar to what Sashi and Rajesh spoke about. It is, and I've touched upon them before as well, it is on data, it is on legacy debt, tech debt, and then you are putting a primer of AI on top of it. I always say you can paint an old wall, but if you don't repair it, the paint is going to chip. So if you haven't fundamentally cleaned up the data, which is going to help you analyze a lot of things, and if you're still grappling with the legacy debt, is AI going to be successful? No. So I think it's a three-pronged approach in terms of cleansing the data, being data ready, so AI readiness for data. Then grappling with legacy debt, do you want to put plasters on it? Do you put modular additive technology of AI, or you undergo a change? This is where the problem of ownership comes in. Our processes are so steeped into legacy infrastructure that there is not one person who will give a sign off on change of processes or procedures. So there is a risk aspect to it. Now, how do you manage the risk? Unless you are converging these three things of data readiness, legacy technology, and also change management and risk management together, I don't think AI will be a success. So this is the kind of thing we grapple with. And Rajesh picked upon it very, very pointedly, and it impacts us in banking as well, that it has to be an ethical and a regulatory compliance and adoption of AI. We just can't go ahead and adopt because the technology is available, because we don't know when it fails, what could be the outcomes of the failure, and who's going to raise their hand up and say that it failed because of X, Y, Z reason. So ethical adoption of AI is a challenge as well.
They're talking about a lot of things in terms of how we are building AI, we are doing it. I just spoke about how we are ahead in the game, also building enterprise solutions, but make no mistake, I think the problems are the same across, same pinch guys. What we are talking about is legacy systems, legacy code, the legacy processes. They are not just speed bumps that are coming to you. They are actually past anchors. We really need to make sure that those are the risks that we acknowledge, and we are working towards that. The second part of the thing that I already spoke about is the talent density that we are talking about. We are still confused about, oh, do we really go ahead and hire? The war is real, but we really can't get the skill set. So are we really upskilling, reskilling? Do we have the academies to do that? Can we increase the talent density into our organization? that is a larger problem at hand that every leader is now also struggling with. That takes into consideration your employee value proposition. That also is a part of the strategy now that comes in, because this problem is larger at hand, where we are able to now think about ethical innovation. Larger, again, a problem, but we have to keep a tab on this all the time, and that also brings into consideration the EVP. We are talking about the aspect of being able to have psychological safety when we are building the platforms. That way, we are able to give them an environment where they can fail and still experiment. So there are a lot of those things that we are talking about in terms of what failures. And in addition to that, there are the obvious ones that we keep talking about, whether it is the regulatory compliance, whether it is the bias models that we talk about with increasing hallucinations that we have at this point of time. I think there are too many regulatory aspects, because we GCCs being in particular regions, there are geopolitical aspects. Shalini spoke about it. There are regulatory that really comes hard hitting at us. There are multiple of those that we are now trying to navigate to make sure that we are able to build better AI solutions in hand. And while we do so, I think we really need to understand how we are really moving towards a better AI solutioning in hand.
So I think what I'm hearing from all of you, none of you said technology is a problem. It was everything else. It was talent, it was strategy, user adoption, all of that. So I think, so again, my takeaway from this discussion is that, when we look at it holistically, we hire technology people. So I always say that there's science, there's commerce, and there's humanities in our education system. Most of us get these science people in our teams. Commerce and humanities is ignored. But that's what strategy is, that's what commercial outcome ROI is. So I think in my mind, somehow how do we become full stack human beings, thinking of all three together, and that's where the value is. I think science we can solve, but how do we integrate the three? That's my sort of takeaway from this. So my last question, again the same for all three of you. When you look at your own team, your own role, think 3 years, 5 years. Among all this clutter, what is your own aspiration of where you can get? People are talking about AGI and all of that, but you are realistically knowing where your company is, where your team is, your capabilities. So just paint a picture of what you see ahead for your team, where do you go from here, and just help everyone understand what is realistically possible.
Okay. So, yeah, it's a good question. 3 years down the line, one thing, so all these AI, whatever tech stack we do, it always has its own risks, right? So the only thing what I would say is, let's make BBMP work. I'm not talking about the municipality here or the corporation here, but the model biases, the first B. The second B, the breach of security. And then the M, misinformation or hallucination. And then 4, the data privacy part of it, right? So whether it's for India or India for the globe, with all the data sovereignty kind of expectations, I think as we look forward from today to tomorrow, it's evolving. Some of the geographies and countries are pretty mature, but even in India, the act, I say it's passed or it's drafted, the DPDR bill, etc. So that we need to continue to have focus. The second thing is more on the AI ethics principle, which every organization would have. Always try to have human in the loop solution. We may cut down certain jobs, etc. But as she said, we can always upskill and reskill. But empathy and simplifying is very important. And me being a true engineer to heart, sometimes we tend to over-engineer. Let's keep it simple and frugal. And minimum viable product mindset, that's going to be important. Gone are the days, I take a big bang approach or whatnot. I think continuously going to focus on these two things is going to be very important in the next 2 to 3 years. One thing is, personally, last night, kudos to all the Indian girls who bet Australian cricket, right? The kind of emotions and the spirit, whatever AI solution can bring in, it cannot. So let's always have AI in the loop, whether it's 3 years or 5 years down the line. But AI can act as an assistant or an enabler as part of the overall solution, but it's not the only way to solve a problem.
Great. All right. So, Pankaj, a little longer response, but hopefully you can adjust. So, if you would have had this kind of a panel discussion a decade or two back, I'm sure the conversation would have been different. The conversation around the playbook of a GCC site leader would have been how to run the site more effectively, more efficiently, more keep the lights on. Nobody would have spoken about innovation, disruption, and things of that nature. But guess what? Some site leaders or some industry leaders that time rewrote those playbooks. So obviously where we are. So I think in my mind, the one fundamental thing that we have to do is we need to keep challenging our playbook, keep writing the playbook, not with a pen, which cannot be erased and rewritten, keep writing it with a pencil, but with a lot of passion and lot of innovation and transformation mindset, so that obviously you can keep changing those playbooks in a very agile, scalable and flexible manner. That is number one. And second thing is, of course, keep, like Shiva said, keep things very simple. I'm saying keep the foundation very strong, because at the end of, whether it is an AI solution or your site or a new technology, if the foundation is pretty strong, you can build any beautiful building and mansion on top of that as well. And third thing is, of course, never take human out of the loop. So what I am looking at from 2 to 3 years down the line is the kind of an impact and solution I'm going to be looking at. 4 P's is my sort of philosophy, is how you can keep it as personalized as possible for your team, your organization, as much proactive as possible, of course, so that obviously you are not catching up on the trends, you are redefining some of the trends. Third thing is as much preventive as possible, so that obviously you're not again catching up, more of a proactive part of thing. And third is predictive, or fourth is predictive. As much predictive as possible, because again, the power of data, the power of technology, the power of keeping things simple and foundational, none of this will absolutely be fruitful from a value generation and 2 steps forward in case you can't make it things predictive from a nature point of view as well. So if I have to rewrite my playbook for me and my team and all that, this will be focused on those 4 P principles.
So in the next 3 to 5 years, I think what Siva said, keeping it simple. My core philosophy has been PPI, people, processes, and innovation. I think we need to start investing in our people or upskilling them. So a lot of learning and development modules are going to change. A lot of skill development has to happen. You have to teach the old dog new tricks. So that's going to be a challenge. Plus, the new workforce which is coming in, again, going back to my first point, has to be AI native, so that we can create those solutions. I mentioned about processes. Processes are again driven from people. If you have smarter people coming in, your processes will go through a change. They will adopt to newer ways of working. And if we keep it simple and we keep innovating, I think the most important aspect is deliver to the promise that we're speaking of today. 3 years down the line, we shouldn't be sitting over here saying, oh, this will change the way we work. We should have the conversation that how it has changed us and what is the next thing we're looking at. So I'm a non-tech guy and I completely resonate with it. Keep it simple. Talk to me as I'm like a 5th standard person, so I understand it. And that's from the user perspective. And keep innovating, and hopefully 5 years down the line, we're having a different conversation of what AI did to us. Thank you.
I think as GCCs right now, Pankaj, we are co-writing our place. And we are not just the background crew sitting out there. I think that after 3 years, I would like to be the one writing the place. And while we talk about that, I also think that in the next few years, we want to move from what we call ourselves as cost arbitrage to being probably confidence arbitrage, right? And when I say that, it means I have the confidence, I have the courage to experiment more, I have the courage to fail and then experiment more without having to look at the value aspect that even Shalini was talking about today. We have real-time problems. As we build solutions, we do talk about the data not being matured enough. We do talk about the test data not being created enough so that we are able to continue to constantly test, simulate, and show how the working of the AI solution right now is. These are real problems. We are looking at solutions that are processing trillions of data at this point of time for now, but then there is a whole lot of, like we said, human in loop, human support that is still going on. I believe I would like to be at a place where I'm able to completely take care of that. I would like to be at a place where I move away from, as Shiva said, move away from the whole aspect of model bias. Maybe it come at a time where we do have that kind of a cost in infrastructure in India, where we are also building AI models that can be more sustainable in future. I want to be at a place where I think all of the other aspects of regulatory is something that I don't have to worry about whichever region I sit in. I want to be at a place where I think the whole aspect of talent density, the talent scrutinies that we are looking at becomes one whole where we are saying that, yeah, skills are available, this is a more generic skill in place. So according to me, I think we are at a place where all the GCCs have to evolve, and if we are not this is not a headcount game at this point of time. I think we need a head start. And if we are really late to the game, there is a GCC next door that is probably already building that we are wanting to, that we are thinking about.
So again, my takeaway was I heard people, process, innovation, technology. In the morning, I heard a news of Google and Sundar Pichai announcing a new thing which is available only to 18 to 25-year-old people. And in my college group, a lot of people are saying, why not us? And they're saying they're betting on these guys. Third trend, I am seeing people are saying, why do we need freshers? This can do it. My own view is that our opportunity in India is, given our demographics, how can we hire these 18 to 25 years, double down on that, allow them to thrive and prosper? I think that can be our competitive advantage. So thank you, panel. Thank you, Siva, Pancham, Priya, Rajesh. Thank you very much. Thanks for being a great panel. Thank you, audience.
Thank you very much.
Pankaj.